Hello everyone, welcome you all to Daily Dose Complete Newspaper Analysis, where we will be dealing with all the important snapshots, snippets which comes in the newspaper daily. And today we will be covering up for 3 days. The pending ones also I'm covering it up on this day only, here only. So 24th August, 25th August, and 30th August. All the 3 day snippets have been covered over here. From today onwards, it will align now with the daily newspapers, right? So the first in news is, which came on 24th, that is economic criterion, not sole basis for creamy layer. So this was in petition to what was given under the Indra Sohani case, that for deciding the cream layer, the economic criteria should not be the only basis. On the basis of income declaration or on the basis of income differences, that cannot become a case for providing reservation. That cannot be the only case for providing reservation, right? Along with that, we have to see the social backwardness, educational backwardness, etc. On that basis, this was given into petition, that social advancement, higher employment in government services like IAS, IPS, allied services and other central government services will play a role in deciding quota eligibility as said by the Supreme Court. So this is a new kind of impact or new kind of advancement which has come in the reservation category, as we are seeing that a lot of changes are occurring now with subcategorization of castes in all the categories rather than just under the OBC. Now this creamy layer criteria had also been suggested for other backward classes also, like for the scheduled castes, right? So on the basis of that, new kind of changes are occurring in the reservation criteria. Now this has become one of the things, that social advancement and higher employment in government services, that also plays a crucial role in the advancement of an individual and a family, and on the basis of that the reservation should be given, right? So that's why this this economic criteria, not the sole basis, this news came into picture. And what you have to do is now, in terms of in your mains answer writing, especially in your mains questions, what you have to deal with is, if some question comes on reservation, so this can be one of the point, ठीक है, कि कहाँ पे हम forward हो रहे हैं and where we are seeking changes in the reservation criteria, rather than just on the economic criteria which was under the EWS category, which was given recently. Now under the classes which are already getting reservation, whether the bite is given to the last person who is being affected or not, that is also being seen, right? So that's why this whole thing came into picture. So it plays an equal role in deciding whether a person belonged to the creamy layer and could be defined quota benefits, right? So this has earlier it had a petition which was launched, and later on it came into news. Now one important point that comes over here is Indra Sohani verdict of 1992, that you have to go through in your polity syllabus, right? कि क्या case था and what verdict was given. So basically Indra Sohani case में there were certain parameters which were decided in deciding a creamy layer. ठीक है, कि कितना क्राइटेरिया होना चाहिए, इकोनॉमिक क्राइटेरिया कितना होना चाहिए, सोशल एडवांसमेंट का क्या पैरामीटर होना चाहिए, all these things were defined in Indra Sohani case 1992. The court has illustrated that creamy layer would include persons from backward classes who occupied posts in higher services like IAS, IPS and other all India services, had reached a higher level of social advancement and economic status, and therefore were not entitled to be treated as backward. That's why this criteria of economy which was earlier there should not be the sole basis. ठीक है, कि income अगर कम भी है, but if you have socially advanced in other parameters, तो reservation का benefit नहीं. So that chunk of reservation which was earlier which was now available to certain section of people who didn't need it, that will reach to the other people, other individuals who really need it, right? तो ये रिजर्वेशन का क्राइटेरिया जो था, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का बेसिस था, ठीक है? तो हाउ द चेंजेस आर कमिंग, एक पर्सपेक्टिव होना चाहिए आपके पास, दैट नाउ व्हाट ऑल काइंड ऑफ चेंजेस दिस रिजर्वेशन स्कीम इज गेटिंग, ठीक है? लाइक certain other cases, the Supreme Court had directed or it had advised that the transgenders should come under the reservation category. The Divyangs should come under the reservation category. Women should be given reservation wherever needed, right? तो ये सारी चीजें जो एक नया something new which is happening in the reservation scheme in this whole reservation this era. So ये सारी चीजें will bring certain innovations, right? And whoever need it will come under this category. This is the basis for this whole reservation debate, right? तो ये सारा अपने ध्यान में रखना है, and what all things are there, सारे nuances, so that you can get a whole full-fledged answer for this, right? Next is Niti Aayog and World Resources Institute India. They jointly launched Forum for Decarbonizing Transport in India. So this is in lieu of decarbonization of transport, because most of the Indian transport sector is dependent on the road, and it is becoming one of the problem for pollution in India. So on the basis of that, World Resources Institute India and Niti Aayog, they had launched this forum for decarbonizing transport. So important points. Basically, this forum is to bring all the stakeholders on one platform, so that all the policy initiatives, policy responses could be given a central attention, a focused attention, and every stakeholder knows about what all things are happening in every sector, right? Related sectors. So that's why this platform had been launched, this forum had been launched. So India has a massive and diverse transport sector, which is also the third most carbon dioxide emitting sector in India and the world. Road transport in this contributes to more than 90% of total carbon dioxide emissions. Government focus is basically to bring up the electric vehicles or e-vehicles or these hybrid vehicles. Niti Aayog has been at the helm of the promotion of electric vehicles and sustainable mobility by its mission known as National Mission on Transformative Mobility and Battery Storage. The forum will bring together CEOs, researchers, academics, multilateral agencies, financial institutions, as well as the central and the state government. So all the stakeholders who are responsible for this decarbonization technique, they will be brought on one platform. Niti Aayog will provide that particular platform. This will help in the development of innovative business models, resulting in targeted results and holistic growth of electric vehicle space in India. Now, अब इसमें further on क्या देखना है? What you have to see is you have to go for the faster adoption of e-vehicles scheme, FAME, right? That is FAME scheme that you have to see. Then what else the government is doing in order to decarbonize this transport industry? What all other green initiatives have been taken by the government, right? ये सारी चीजें आप एक जगह पे you have to consolidate. ठीक है? What are the problems? What are the challenges that the e-vehicles might face in India? What all other possibilities are there which can be helpful in providing or in encouraging more e-vehicles in this country, right? So all these things will come into picture. Next in news is new portal under Bhuvan Yuktadhara will facilitate planning of new MG-Narega assets using remote sensing and GIS based information. We already know that many of the sectors or many of the initiatives under the MG-Narega scheme had come under the GIS tagging or GIS mapping, right? तो जो भी assets create होते हैं नरेगा के under, they all come under the GIS geospatial tagging, and on the basis of that the MG-Narega workers are getting their payment on time. Karnataka government was the first government which started with this initiative, right? Mobile app for this MG-Narega, these structures which are being made. And accordingly, the fund disbursement used to take place, and it is 100% successful in that state, right? On the basis of that, now already the Bhuvan portal is there, which is a government portal, which provides all the database related to MG-Narega. ठीक है, तो उससे जितने भी resources create हो रहे हैं, it provides a GIS mapping. Now this Yuktadhara, it will facilitate planning of new MG-Narega assets using remote sensing and GIS based information. It will serve as a repository of assets. So basically collection center रहेगा ये, right? That means geotags created under various national rural development programs. That is MG-Narega, Integrated Watershed Management Program, Per Drop More Crop and Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, along with field photographs. So जितने भी resources create हुए हैं, assets have been created under these particular schemes, they will come under this particular portal, that is Yuktadhara portal, right? So direct question prelims में Yuktadhara is related to, ठीक है? So all these concerned ministries, they will be responsible for the implementation of this Yuktadhara. It is a geospatial planning portal by Union Ministry of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. That the name is very apt. The word Yukt is derived from Yojanam, the planning, and Dhara indicates the flow. So it is definitely a culmination of uniting joint efforts of ISRO and Ministry of Rural Development towards realizing a government-to-government service for rural planning in support of decentralized decision-making. So important points over here to notice. Already ISRO's geoportal Bhuvan is acting successfully in this field, and it is highlighted that due to its rich information base, satellite images provided by this Bhuvan portal and analytical capabilities, it has become a de facto geospatial platform for number of development planning in countries. Now see, whatever things are happening, whatever assets are created, a proper planning is required ताकि फ्यूचर में भी जाके वो खराब ना हो, right? तो how effective they are, how successful are they, how beautifully they have been created, और कितना sustainable है, all these things will come into picture when continuous gauge will be provided to that. So that's why this has become a successful thing. Now, this portal integrates wide variety of thematic layers, multi-temporal, high observation resolution Earth observation data, ताकि हर एक site पे एक proper information मिल सके. Planners will analyze the previous assets under various schemes and facilitates identification of new works using the online tools, ताकि कोई intermediary का interference ना रहे. Plans prepared will be evaluated by appropriate authorities under the state departments. Thus, the scheme, that is Yuktadhara based plans, will be prepared by grassroots functionaries and verified by appropriate authorities for relevance and resource allocation. So it will provide a kind of transparency and more advancement in this whole MG Narega and other asset creation works, right? So it will ensure quality of plan and enable a long-term monitoring of assets created over others. This was the news, so just go through it. Next is Geo MG Narega on Bhuvan. It has received wide acclaims. The before dating after geotagging of assets has successfully implemented the progress-based disbursement of funds during the process of creation of rural assets. Also, there is a citizen-centric mobile application, that is Jan Manrega. It has helped rural population for providing feedback using the Bhuvan services. So basically, to provide a feedback to the government whether the scheme is working properly or not, whether the assets which have been created are working efficiently or not. That facility has also been provided under Jan Manrega. So synergy of geographic information and earth observation technology, it has not only brought the value of location to each rural asset, but also brought it unprecedented transparency in MG Narega program. So these things can be utilized in your mains answer, and a direct question of based on Yuktadhara can come in your prelims, right? Climate change, a catalyst for Arctic cooperation. So this was a news which is related to basically how the international undertakings are taking place and what effect it has on the Arctic cooperation. What all changes are happening at the geopolitical level, and how is it impacting the Arctic region based on the stakeholders who are involved. This whole news coverage is covering that. So I have covered all the important points. The environmental challenges, that should be a priority of all the international platforms, all the international government that have been involved in the Arctic Council. In the Arctic Council, so a question was there based on Arctic Council in 2016, I think, in your prelims. So just go through the Arctic Council countries. There are already 8 countries in that have direct this connection to the Arctic resources: Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russian Federation, Sweden, and United States. United States, Alaska wala region, right? So all these countries, they are the main, these are the main members of Arctic Council, 8 members. Just go through the map ki kaise Arctic se, how they are all related. In 2013, 6 observers joined the council, including India, right? Or total members jo the wo 13 ho gaye. So as the number of people, or as the number of observers and participants increased, so is the claim on the Arctic resources. Now, Arctic is one region which is equally vulnerable to the climate change, as well as it is very rich in resources, as well as very good source for scientific explorations to deal with the climate change and all other reasons, right? So also there is a second concern, that is the security concerns which is there in the region. Historically, how the security concerns have been built. So from the time of Cold Era, when the Cold Era ended, the Russian leader at that time, Mikhail Gorbachev, he said that it is now a zone of peace, right? So he declared that place, that Arctic region, as a zone of peace. Also, the geopolitical tensions and security concerns were almost forgotten at that period when the Cold War ended, right? Later on, the perceived harmony, it was broken in 2007 when Russian explorers, they planted their flag on the seabed below the North Pole to articulate Moscow's claims in the Arctic. So again, the tensions started to brew up, right? The regional tensions, they increased after the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2014. After the events in Ukraine, when Russia annexed that territory of Ukraine, Crimea, right? So the tensions arose again. So Russia has been increasingly viewed as a rule breaker, revisionist power, and untrustworthy player. That it cannot be trusted, and it can have, since it has a higher reach to the Arctic, or a better reach to the Arctic, so it can claim certain regions, and it can provide, it can be dangerous to the world community, right? Some Russian military experts believe that the Barents Sea, now you have to see the location of Barents Sea in map, right? Barents Sea and other seas, jitni bhi seas, Chukchi Sea is one of the sea which is there in beside this. Then we have Kuril Islands, which is a disputed territory between Russia and Japan. So all these related cheezein wahan pe puri mapping mein dekh lena tum log, right? So they believe that Barents Sea can serve as a launching area for Western seaborne attack. Therefore, the Russian Navy should ensure the readiness of its anti-submarine forces in the Arctic Ocean. So it can be utilized as a base for Russian military or for other militaries, agar jaise encouragement milta jayega, right? So that there are a lot of security concerns related to that region. If we go for the eco dimensions, so we already know, I have explained it in earlier lectures also, what are the eco dimensions. So Arctic is one of the region which is mostly affected by the climate change, and the impacts are quite visible over there, right? Just हिसाब से ice melt हो रहा है, by 2050 Arctic may become ice free completely, as suggested by certain reports. So Arctic region bears the brunt of climate change. At the same time, it provides a platform for scientific research that can help to get to the bottom of natural calamities around the world. According to the World Climate and Security Report 2020, the Arctic is warming nearly twice as fast as rest of the planet, which is a very serious concern, right, for the world community. If we talk about the geopolitical versus strategic concerns in the region, so the environmental transformation and rapid ice melting, they have opened up new opportunities in the region, which includes the trans-Arctic shipping routes. Now, these routes are providing free shipping, an easier shipping without any conflict. So, no conflict of interest will arise in this region if this becomes a region for shipping. Especially China has a claim after its disputed territory in the 9-line and South China Sea, right? These opportunities, they have inevitably attracted all the stakeholders in the region. The importance of Arctic region for China especially mostly stems from its energy security issues and the need to diversify the shipping lanes, which will be provided freely in the Arctic region. That's why now the geopolitical interest is arising in this region, right? Apart from pursuing national interests, participating nations should also be concerned about the future developments in the region. So in सारे जो ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, whatever things are happening in the region, on the basis of that, what further implications can be seen over there in that region, right? How is it going to impact not only climatically but also geopolitically? All the stakeholders can come to a conflict, to a point of conflict, how it can be resolved, whether there is any central authority which is going to look for that, how sustainable development could be produced in that region, could be introduced in that region. All these things are going to play a very crucial role in this Arctic region, right? So ये paper 2 and paper 3 दोनों के हिसाब से it becomes important for you people, right? तो इससे related जितनी भी चीज है Arctic में, how the developments are taking place and what are the implications on India and the world community as a whole. So all the Arctic actors, the conclusion should be that all the Arctic actors should have a long-term vision. and strategic goals as compared to the immediate short-term gains, and then only accordingly the work should take place, right? Next, shooter Avni Likhara becomes first Indian woman to win gold at Paralympics. Now, this is a particular piece of news that becomes important from ethics, and you can use it in essay and everything. So, how the women are progressing on every front, and how our society is becoming more acceptable to the Paralympics and to the especially to the Divyangs. Right, the society is becoming more acceptable now, and with these awareness, with such kind of encouragement, with such kind of achievements, it will become easier for the Divyangs, for the Divyang people to get and encouraged to attain their goals. So ethics point of view से यहाँ sympathy, empathy वो सारे factors आएंगे. Resilience will be one of the factor because she fought and she won. Right, that is a very great achievement she had brought. And she can become a symbol of, encouragement for the other members of this particular community, right? So whatever things we are doing, not only in sports sector, but even in other sectors, if they be given opportunity, right? So after the Disability Act in India, certain portion of reservation have been provided to the Divyangs in every employment, in every central and state employment. So this is how it is going to create, and the society is becoming more acceptable. Society is becoming more inclusive, right? So these things can be taken as an example to that. Next is global power shifts lead to security challenges, as said by our honorable defense minister. So we have to see what all internal challenges are coming to India from all the sides. Whatever things are happening in Afghanistan, how is it going to implicate, or how is it going to create an impact in India even? और जितने भी internal security concerns है, all those things will be included in this particular topic. ठीक है, अब ये important हो जाता है mains point of view से, because you have to now make a connection कि कहाँ से किस तरफ से we are all facing internal issues and how the scenario is changing in terms of internal security. ठीक है, so he said that alignment and realignment of global powers. Some countries are making groupings. The Quad is one of the grouping which India had come forward with, Japan, Australia and USA, right? In terms of that, if we see, there is a kind of, many axes which have been, which are now getting produced. China, Russia on one side, China, Russia, Pakistan on one side, then Quad on other side, then some European countries on the other side. So, many axes, multiple axes are getting created in the country, and based on that alignment and realignment of these global powers, they have already changed the security challenges, and changing equations in Afghanistan are a recent example of that. Today, the enemy no longer needs to enter the border because of, he mostly talked about the cyber security issues, which is one of the most challenging internal security problem, right? So cyber security, bioweapons, chemical weapons, all these are being utilized, and internal security is not only about the border security now, right? Even without entering the border, such kind of attacks are taking space, space wars, etc. The standoff along the line of actual control with China in eastern Ladakh, a unilateral attempt was made last year to change the status quo in the northern sector too. So that is also one of the problems which may emanate as an internal security challenge to India. One of our neighboring countries started resorting to proxy wars. He was basically pointing to Pakistan, but because it has been used as a base for terrorist activities, and it may increase after all the changes which have taken place in Afghanistan. Major reforms that has been undertaken by India were integrated theatre commands, formation of integrated battle groups for unified war fighting, and tour of duty initiative for recruitment. Now, what is your homework is that you have to find out what else the government of India has taken, what else initiatives government of India has taken in order to build up a strong internal security infrastructure. वहां पे सारे पहले तो internal security के जितने भी problems हैं, that you have to make a list of that, right? And accordingly, जो भी major steps जो भी लिए गए हैं, major reforms whatever have been taken, that you have to point out. That is your homework, right? So next is news related to poultry farms. So new rules put larger onus on small, medium poultry farms. This news is more important from your prelims perspective. So I have noted down all the important points. Just go through it. Small and marginal poultry farmers in India will now have to take measures similar to their bigger counterparts to prevent environmental pollution. Now, what defines the small, medium, and large poultry farmers were those who have 5,000 to 25,000, they come under small farmers category. Those who have 25,000 to less than 1 lakh, medium farmers, and more than 1 lakh, they are large farmers. The guidelines state that small farmers are mostly economically backward and are part of unorganized sector. So they were earlier exempted from this whole purview of pollution control and abatement, right? Poultry, hatchery and piggery, they were considered green by the Central Pollution Control Board CPCB in its guidelines of 2015, which later on changed by the National Green Tribunal in 2016, which asked the CPCB to revisit its decision, right? So now the new guidelines, they state that for establishing and operating a medium-sized poultry farm of 25,000 to 1 lakh birds, as farmer we have to obtain a certificate from consent to establishment or consent to operate. And who will be the authority which will be responsible for this? So the State Pollution Control Board or committee under the Water Act 1974 and Air Act 1981. These will be the authorities which will be responsible for providing the certification. Gaseous emissions and wastes, they are a major problem in poultry farming. The feces of poultry birds, they emit gases like ammonia, hydrogen sulfide and methane. This is again important from your prelims point of view. And the Animal Husbandry Department will be responsible for implementing the guidelines at the state and the district level. So not much important from mains point, but prelims ke liye this becomes important. Next is again from ethics ya fir essay ke liye. Separate toilets for transgenders at metro stations. Again, society is becoming inclusive, right? We are empathizing with the various communities, diverse communities which are present in India, and even transgenders are now getting lot of opportunities and importance, right? Reservation many sectors, many private companies have provided reservation. Even in forms, if you see, now there is a third gender category, which is included in many of the forms, right? So this shows that society is becoming more empathetic, right? So this was only that much was important. So this is a news which was there. Next is India, Russia to expand Central Asia ties, as said by envoy in Russia who was recently gone to visit. So the two countries will ink deal on logistics, naval coordination during the Russian defense minister's visit. Important over here was reciprocal exchange of logistics agreement. Now this term can directly come in your prelims paper where this will be provided, and it is a pact associated with the country. So 4 countries ka naam, and so it is related to Russia. That's why I took this into news. Rest of the things will provide you an overview or the important points, the area of irritants between Russia and India, right? And how the two countries are moving forward with all the advancement in their in the opportunities which are provided by India as well as Russia. So on the deal for S-400 Triumph air defense systems, in an inclusive, there are specific defense and national security considerations that led India to conclude the contract for the supply of S-400 systems. So S-400 Triumph systems, they are related to Russia, right? Both countries are also scheduled to hold a maiden 2+2 in ministerial dialogue. Then they are also looking how they could cooperate in using India as a production base for exporting to third countries of Russian origin equipment and services, and would add to Make in India program. So abhi tak kya hota tha ki we generally tend to get the finalized products, but now India is moving forward to become a production hub. For that region, now India will be utilized as a land for production of Russian-based equipments and then transporting it to different or exporting it to different countries or third countries, right? So that will provide a boost to Make in India scheme. After the Afghanistan crisis, the equations have changed, which has come as a surprise to the world, to the whole world community. And in that wake, both the countries will be equally affected by terrorist activities, which is being seen as one of the implications after the Afghanistan crisis, right? So they are all these things, whatever Afghanistan developments are taking place, they are going to impact India, Russia, China, all the regions. So they have to come together on one platform. Whatever threats are emanating from Central Asian region, they are going to equally impact both the countries. So they have to ink a deal on that also. This could potentially end up the very foundations of interstate relations in broader region. So after all these things, so basically यहाँ से कुछ important points India Russia related ties, right? And just go through the history of how we have moved forward with the multilateral and bilateral relations with this particular country. Ups and downs कैसे आते रहे हमारे के, because Russia is basically socialist driven country, right? And we are sort of mixed economy. So on the basis of that, किस तरह से relations हमारे ऊपर नीचे up and down होते रहे, and how we have become now one of the most important player for Russia, as well as Russia, how important Russia is to us, right? All these things will become important to you. So with this, we end up our lecture today. Thank you, class.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.